Recently, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced that Ukraine had captured 2 North Korean soldiers on Russia's national border, according to Reuters. This is the first time Ukraine has claimed to have taken any surviving North Korean soldiers prisoner since these troops joined the conflict in the fall of 2024, reports the Kyiv Independent. It was a month-long mission with the main objective of capturing a North Korean soldier alive. Ukraine also released a close-up video of the capture of North Korean soldiers during a skirmish. The North Korean soldiers sustained casualties and began to retreat. One soldier was severely wounded and left behind. The 2 captured North Korean soldiers are currently being held at the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, in Kyiv, according to the Kyiv Independent. The prisoners do not speak Ukrainian, Russian, or English, so communication is taking place through a Korean interpreter, with assistance from South Korea's National Intelligence Service, NIS. One prisoner said he was born in 2005 and began serving as a sniper in North Korea in 2021. The other soldier was born in 1999 and had been serving in the North Korean military since 2016 as a dedicated sniper officer. B. Suk, one of the Ukrainian soldiers who participated in the mission, told Kyiv IDM that there is a notable difference between the combat abilities of North Korean and Russian soldiers. B. Suk remarked, "North Korean soldiers are much better prepared physically and mentally. They are trained very specifically for where they will go and what they will do. It's clear that Russian soldiers don't train themselves as much. North Korean soldiers can carry heavy loads, run long distances, and survive better in harsh conditions." Bernas believes that North Korean soldiers are better prepared thanks to their many years of military service. However, when it comes to more complex maneuvers, they struggle to execute effectively. Bernas said, "Here, they can't apply everything they've been trained for because the war is not what they were taught." So what motivated North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to send thousands of troops to support Russia in the war in Ukraine? And is this cooperation enough to change the course of the battlefield? In November 2024, the world was taken by surprise when the first information was revealed. More than 10,000 North Korean soldiers had arrived in Kursk, the southern border region of Russia. This was not only a tactical move to reinforce Moscow's forces, but also a sign of a new alliance emerging. Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un signed a joint defense treaty, restoring the close relationship that existed during the Cold War. This treaty, signed at a summit in Pyongyang in June 2024, committed Russia and North Korea to support each other in the event of an attack. For Kim Jong-un, this treaty was an opportunity for North Korea to escape economic isolation in exchange for weapon technology and support from Russia. For Putin, deploying North Korean troops was a strategy to supplement his forces as Russia faced increasing losses in Ukraine. But the question arises, what is the true motive behind this alliance? Can the combination of Russia and North Korea change the course of the war? Or is this merely a desperate move by Moscow? And with North Korea's troops lacking battlefield experience, is Putin gambling everything in his effort to regain control of Kursk? Leave your comment number 1 below to continue. The subsequent developments on the Kursk battlefield will gradually reveal the answer. When information about the Russia-North Korea alliance was confirmed through the signing of the Joint Defense Treaty between President Vladimir Putin and leader Kim Jong-un, many questioned the true scale of this cooperation. Now the answer is becoming clear. Over 50,000 Russian soldiers are participating in the campaign to retake the Kursk area, including at least 10,000 North Korean troops. This is the force expected to turn the tide and reclaim territories unexpectedly seized by Ukraine in August 2024. According to sources from the New York Times, the Kyiv Independent, and military analyses on forums like Reddit, this counteroffensive has been meticulously prepared in terms of manpower, with expectations of making significant breakthroughs. However, the reality shows that the Russian-North Korean forces are facing difficulties on multiple fronts. North Korean soldiers, despite having large numbers in the touted Iron Spirit, lack experience in modern combat, especially in coordinating with Russian mechanized units in an entirely unfamiliar territory. Nevertheless, the large-scale deployment reflects President Putin's determination to regain the initiative. With Kursk being a strategic border position, it serves not only as a shield for Russian territory, but also plays a crucial role in blocking further Ukrainian attacks. Therefore, when Kim Jong-un agreed to send North Korean troops to support, it was a clear signal that Moscow is willing to use all available means to restore the lost territories. Notably, the unexpected presence of North Korean soldiers, previously mentioned in the section Introduction to the Unexpected Presence of North Korean Soldiers in Kursk, Russia, is becoming a complex factor in changing the battlefield dynamics. However, Russia's counteroffensives in Kursk continue to suffer heavy losses, raising doubts about the actual effectiveness of this cooperation. Is the number of 50,000 troops sufficient to turn the tide? Or is this merely a show of determination not to retreat from the Kremlin? The conflict is still ongoing, and the answer remains open. In the massive counteroffensive involving 50,000 troops, including the participation of over 10,000 North Korean soldiers, Russia has deployed one of its most familiar tactics, often referred to by international observers as the human wave. This strategy fundamentally relies on mobilizing a large number of soldiers and armored vehicles to relentlessly charge the enemy's front lines, aiming to overwhelm them numerically and break their resistance. However, in the context of modern warfare, where defensive systems and precision weapons have advanced significantly, the human wave appears to be less effective than before. Russia's implementation of this tactic in Kursk is very clear. Infantry units, sometimes including North Korean soldiers, are deployed to the battlefield in successive waves. Behind them are tanks, BTR-82A armored personnel carriers, BMP infantry fighting vehicles, and even troop transport vehicles, all moving toward Ukrainian positions. In theory, Russia's intent is to crush the defensive lines through sheer numbers. However, according to reports from Anastasia Blishchuk, spokesperson for the 47th Mechanized Brigade, and numerous military bloggers like Deep State, these forces have repeatedly been halted by dense minefields, firepower from attacking UAVs, and Stugna-P anti-tank systems. The lack of communication, poor command and control, and difficulties in coordinating with the newly arrived North Korean forces have placed the Russian troops at a disadvantage. Many sources reveal that soldiers are not adequately informed about minefield locations, leading to situations where the leading vehicle hits a mine and the following vehicle continues to push forward, turning the front line into a series of continuous explosions. This not only results in significant casualties, but also demoralizes the troops, especially when they witness rows of tanks and armored vehicles burning right before their eyes. The human wave tactic once made Russia famous in the past when the opposition lacked the capability for precise long-range attacks or had not yet developed intelligent defense systems. However, in Kursk, Ukraine has thoroughly exploited advancements in military technology, from loitering drones to smart mines, long-range artillery, and even mobile missile systems. As a result, despite having a larger number of troops, Russia continues to suffer casualties numbering in the thousands each day. Instead of weakening Ukraine's defensive lines, this tactic inadvertently plunges Russian forces into a state of collective slaughter, causing the Kremlin to face mounting difficulties and failing to achieve the initial breakthroughs expected. Russia's counteroffensive in Kursk has quickly turned into a military disaster, with casualties and equipment losses increasing at an unprecedented rate. According to sources from Ukraine and the West, the Russian military is sustaining losses of up to approximately 2,000 soldiers each day, nearly double the casualties experienced during the summer clashes. This number surged right from the initial phase of the campaign, indicating a level of ferocity that far exceeds the Kremlin's original estimates. Since August 2024, when Ukraine launched a surprise attack on Kursk, Russia immediately increased its troop numbers and conducted multiple counteroffensives to reclaim the territory. However, the solid defensive lines fortified with minefields, attacking UAVs, and Ukraine's mobile infantry units have rendered Russia's continuous offensives futile. The Ukrainian army has declared that they are holding back approximately 50,000 Russian soldiers in Kursk, preventing the enemy from diverting forces to other critical fronts, such as Donetsk. Lacking timely supplies, Russia's offensives have repeatedly become isolated, facing stronger than expected resistance. In the early days of the campaign, a series of armored vehicles like T-90M tanks, BTR-82A, armored personnel carriers, and BMP infantry fighting vehicles were devastated by precise firepower and UAV attacks from Ukraine. A battle near Novoivanovka recorded the destruction of 18 out of 29 Russian armored vehicles in a very short period. Many convoys rushed into minefields without adequate fire support or thorough reconnaissance. Anastasia Blishchuk, spokesperson for the 47th Mechanized Brigade, described Russian units continuously attacking in a headlong charge into a death trap, leaving hundreds of bodies and dozens of burning vehicles along the defensive lines. Some sources from Ukraine and the military blogger community, such as Deep State, indicate that vehicle losses are not the worst part. The number of wounded and killed soldiers is even greater. The situation is exacerbated by the presence of over 10,000 North Korean soldiers who are unaccustomed to modern battlefields being deployed to Kursk without yet making any breakthroughs for Russia. In reality, the massive deployment of vehicles and manpower does not compensate for tactical shortcomings and command issues, especially against Ukraine's strong counterattacks and increasingly intelligent defensive capabilities. The brutality in Kursk has exceeded all expectations, forcing Moscow to pay a heavy price in blood and equipment in its pursuit of regaining control over the strategically important border region. In the early days of Russia's counteroffensive in Kursk, Ukrainian forces demonstrated superior defensive and counteroffensive capabilities through the effective combination of mines, drones, and Stugna anti-tank systems. Dense minefields were laid along Russia's critical advance routes, turning each Russian assault into a death route for armored convoys. According to multiple sources, a battle near Novoivanovka saw dozens of Russian vehicles blown up by mines before they could even approach the Ukrainian defensive lines. In addition to mines, Ukraine's secret weapons include attacking drones, ranging from inexpensive but effective FPV models to more advanced UAVs. These drones not only perform reconnaissance to locate Russian tanks, but also carry small warheads to disable armored vehicles. Thanks to their high mobility, Ukrainian UAV operators can hunt targets from a distance with impressive precision, contributing significantly to the heavy losses inflicted on Russian forces. Although mines and drones are crucial, the Stugna P anti-tank missile systems are also considered the iron fist in Ukraine's tactics. With their long-range and modern armor-piercing capabilities, Stugna P missiles pose a direct threat to Russian tanks and armored vehicles. Numerous videos from the battlefield show Russian T-90 tanks or BMPs being destroyed after just a few guided missile strikes from Stugna P systems. The skillful combination of minefields, UAVs, and Stugna systems has enabled Ukraine to turn each Russian attack into a disaster for both vehicles and manpower. This serves as a typical lesson demonstrating that modern warfare relies not only on numbers but also on tactical thinking, technology, and meticulous preparation in all aspects of the conflict. Currently, the military situation in Kursk is tilting in Ukraine's favor, as these units have successfully halted and heavily depleted Russia's attacking forces. Although Russia has exerted significant effort to mobilize around 50,000 soldiers, including a large number of North Korean troops, to retake the lost territories, the results have shown a disaster in terms of manpower and armored vehicles. Military sources such as BBC, the New York Times, the Times of India, the Kyiv Independent, and military bloggers like Julian Ropka, Build, and Deep State all confirm that Russia is suffering losses of up to thousands of casualties each day. Dozens of tanks and armored vehicles have been destroyed, turning Kursk into a black spot riddled with mine explosions and attacks by Ukrainian drones and Stugna P systems. In this context, Ukraine maintaining the initiative demonstrates the successful combination of traditional defense and modern tactics, allowing them not only to preserve the territories they have held in Kursk, but also to significantly sap the enemy's strength. Analysts believe that Ukraine has the full capability to repel Russia's counteroffensive in Kursk if it continues to maintain its current combat effectiveness and receives timely support and weaponry, especially long-range missiles. These weapons would allow Ukraine to strike deeper into Russian ammunition depots, logistical bases, and military concentration points behind the front line. If this scenario unfolds, Ukraine's advantage will increasingly grow, forcing Russia to divide its forces across multiple fronts. While Donetsk remains a crucial conflict center, the chaos in Kursk could further entangle Russia, making it difficult to concentrate enough forces to decisively finish off any particular area. However, it is noteworthy that President Vladimir Putin continues to show stubbornness in reverting to outdated tactics that rely on sheer numbers rather than scientific calculation and flexibility. He maintains a no-retreat mentality, accepting the sacrifice of soldiers, including allied forces like North Korean troops, to strive for the reclamation of Kursk. Despite the massive and continuous losses, the Kremlin has not shown any signs of readiness to change its approach. This raises the question, is Russia's human wave tactic, concentrating large armies and heavy weaponry in relentless assaults, still effective in a modern war where technology and combat efficiency are paramount? Or is it merely a gamble, with Russia losing more soldiers and political credibility each passing day? Thank you for watching until the end of the video. Please share your own opinions in the comments below and continue to watch the next part on the right side of your screen.